Okay, so roll call. Renee O'Donnell, Brian Carlisle, Skip Smith is here, and Cindy Grant. Everybody's here. Is there a public comment? Yes,
I
Laura?
just wanted to double check with Cindy to see when the website might be updated with the minutes. I've been watching for that.
I'm trying to get stuff up to her.
Yeah.
Her and I are supposed to meet here in the next month or so.
This goes back to November.
I understand,
Yeah.
but the way it works is she can only work for a certain amount of time. And we just found a way for her to be able to work more time. So her and I are gonna get together and set up a schedule.
It just seemed odd that sometimes there's other things that do get updated on the website, but those minutes are still lagging, so I just don't understand what the.
Who's doing the website, Cindy?
Janine Pinio.
Okay.
And I sent her an email the other day, updating, some of the changes in staff and that sort of stuff. And, she got that done, so, we're working on trying to get the minutes updated, but they're in here, people, need them.
Okay, all right.
Do you know what format they're in? Is it like a PDF digital file or?
The
The
minutes and
minutes,
stuff, they're
yeah.
in a PDF, we send them as a PDF, yep.
What happened to Wendy?
She got done.
That's unfortunate.
Anything else? Okay. So let's go through this pile of warrants here. So I'm gonna read these off and then make a motion from that. So, let me see, I'll make a motion and start it. Oh no, I'll just read them all. Anyway, warrants. PY, I'll do it all at once. I can't remember how to do this. I'm out of practice. Thank you. So we have PY warrant number 85 for $8,344.85. AP warrant number 86 for $3,155.16. AP warrant number 87 for $2,264.31. AP warrant number 88 for $16,854.10. PY warrant number 89 for $3,827. AP warrant number 90 for $1,843.55. AP warrant number 91 for $2,093.40. AP warrant number 92 for $130,221.04. PY warrant number 93 for $7,491.35. And AP warrant number 94 for $2,346.00. To make a motion that we accept those warrants as read.
Second?
All in favor? Okay. Agenda adjustments. The budget committee is
Minutes.
not,
The minutes.
oh, sorry, I jumped over the minutes. So did you guys read the minutes from March 5th?
I did.
Yes, so did I.
I
So,
have to compliment whoever did these. That was really
yeah,
well
it was
done.
pretty intricate there. So I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written from March 5th, 2018 meeting.
Second?
All in favor? Here we go. Okay, the agenda adjustments. The budget committee is not coming here tonight.
Should be here,
Buddy's right out there.
he's coming,
Okay. Do we want to,
just wanna hold on and.
yeah,
and,
Well- want to talk to Ralph for a minute or no?
Just move on. When Buddy gets here,
Well,
we'll
Chris isn't here.
Yep,
We could do the library. That's usually.
here it comes.
That's pretty quick.
How are you?
Same report.
Same report as always. Thank you, Gary.
Why can't we do the fire chief?
Yeah, let's do the fire chief. Yeah, I was just, he can sit down for a minute. Hi Ralph, how are you?
Oh, good.
Good.
We had 5 calls and, one 1055, fire alarm activation, a couple assists to the rescue, CO call. We had pretty good turnout at most of them, couple of them was a little medical call, so we responded to every call we had, so. Good. The budget was submitted to the budget committee. We're currently at 13 members. We have the quotes for the SCBA's that we're going to put an article in for the townspeople to vote on the purchase of them. We got a response back on the new tanker that was denied through the grant that we applied for. We'll just keep trying, I mean, there's
No harm in trying again.
no, okay,
Okay.
you don't lose nothing for trying. The forestry truck is all fixed and that's ready to go finally. We received a new flammable cabinet that we got through the MMA grant. We've responded to 52 calls so far this year. And tonight we're actually doing a training on the forestry truck now that it's back up and running.
Okay.
So all the new people are familiar with it.
Good.
That's about all I had, unless you have something for me.
Okay. No, anybody else? You guys got anything?
No.
Trying to coordinate the two because, the article that he spoke to you about,
Yes.
Buddy can confirm, they brought it up to the budget committee, so.
Okay.
But I think he needs to get to training.
Yeah, that's fine, that's,
So I just,
Okay.
we'll talk about it with Buddy,
Okay.
okay.
okay?
Thanks, Ralph.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done the fire chief, we skipped the rescue, we did the library. We'll go back to you, Mr. Belcher. Are you representing the budget committee this evening?
Sure.
Okay.
What
How
do
did
you
the
wanna
budget
know?
go?
Oh, good. Went up,
Went up.
as always. Just a lot of little things that went up. But the question is do you want to keep taking out of the difference between your revenue coming in and your outgoing is 88,454. That still would take it 130 out of your surplus.
That's about what we did last year, right?
142 last year. I talked to Cindy earlier. She is guessing maybe you'll be bringing in 60,000 to add to your surplus. You can either raise your taxes, raise the mill rate to gain that 88,000, or you take it out of surplus. But you know my feeling on surplus. But you also know my feeling about raising taxes.
You know, everybody's feeling about that.
My other concern, which wasn't a concern when we did a budget, but I had gone for a ride on our nice new roads. You've got 20,000 in there extra on top of your loan. I think you're gonna need more. Because either Scott does his shoulders, because his contract just says pulling the shoulders up, am I right, Cindy? Which wasn't done on the Dag Farm Road.
Right.
Otherwise, you're gonna lose $1,957,000 worth of roads.
All of it?
Well, when I
North Road looks
listened, when I
pretty good,
listened to the
except-
tape of April 4th, 2016, when the contract was done, Scott Scott had said he'd pull the extra up to build our shoulder.
Okay,
To do just the shoulders on the Chapman Road was $12,000. So I don't know if you're 20,000. Again, this was after our budget meeting. This is,
so the budget committee put in an additional 20,000?
no,
No, okay,
no,
That's his recommendation.
that's your recommendation.
because Brian and I went for a ride yesterday on all the roads. And I pointed out what I thought, because I'm not a road expert though. After watching the town of Newburgh build roads for 50 years.
Didn't you tell me though that there was a couple spots that it was undercutting
Oh,
the
yeah,
pavement?
No, something needs to be done. Either you go back to hire a road commissioner or else, one of you guys ride the roads periodically. You got a lot of washouts that, even on the North Road, before your house, Renee,
There's a little bit on the hill by Dale Hatch. And those
I'm
guys.
talking by Craig Mayhew's in the swamp. You see where the water went over the road and washed out the other side. That was done last year, but it was never taken care of. I'm just afraid you're gonna lose all this work,
Well,
but I think you ought to add to your road budget on fixing these roads.
Did they fix the Dahlia Farm Road?
They fixed from here to that wall over there. And coming up the Dahlia Farm, well, if you come across the Dahlia Farm Road, starting off number 1, there is no shoulders. You got whatever the thickness of the tar on top of the dirt, all the way. The only place they put a shoulder is going down the hill, and that was just recently, just as you turn that corner going down the hill. But that tar's already starting to break away. When you get to the bottom of the hill, again, there's no shoulders. And when you get to the new culvert, that's the only place they built it up for shoulders. Go across the new culvert, go up the hill, and when you turn around where the plows turn around, stop and look down the hill, and there's that much, and it's starting to uncut your tire and breaking your tire away. You got a lot of cracks in your road that should be sealed,
that's on Dahlia Farm.
all of them.
That crack sealing is really expensive too.
Yep. Like the new
Well,
roads,
$20,000 isn't gonna help us.
20,000, but you've already got 20,000 that we accounted for.
Right, I see that.
And my suggestion, not as part of the budget committee, but as a concerned citizen, ex-selectman, I would add another 20,000 into it. But that also determines too, if Scott's gonna come back, because I also heard that when Scott puts the culvert in, is when he was gonna pull the shoulders up on the Dahlia Farm.
I said I mentioned it.
Yeah. And whether he does or not, I don't know. But I think that needs to be brought up with Scott.
Right.
I know Scott does a good job and everything, and he's usually true to his word. I'm not here to diss Scott at all.
No, and a lot of that is just, a natural occurrence too, if we get
Yeah,
a
but,
heavy winter, a lot of snow.
yeah, that's understandable, but with some of these roads, if there was shoulders, you wouldn't have had such a washout. That's my belief. Only because there's some roads that did have shoulders, and we did have a lot of rain, and it didn't do nothing to them, because the water feathers over the whole shoulder of the road.
They
And I
do
don't,
something with them.
and I don't know if
We're
that,
talking $2 million with the hot top that he's talking about crumbling away already.
Well, especially Dahlia Farm Road, if it's that
right,
bad.
and then you've got the Chapman Road, the Chapman Road Hill, the other side of that, that's always washed out. I don't think there's anything you can do with it. I'd ask Scott, that's gonna be at town's cost, to put reclaimed tar in there. Pack it and try to get it so that it gets more over into the ditch and not on the edge of the
If
tar.
you rip wrap those ditches, would that help if you, put tailings
You
in
can
them or
do,
something?
yeah, you can, but the biggest thing is, shoulders. You've
So
got
he
it,
didn't do the,
When's the last time you were on the Dairy Farm Road?
probably last fall.
Yeah, and there's some spots where if a little car, like Gary's car, got off to the side, his tires would be spinning because he'd be hung up on top.
Well, we'll just have to address it.
Well, I think, number one, you know, obviously you can't let it go.
No.
Two, I think the best approach is have X amount of dollars to at least do emergency or the major repairs to hold things in place, and then put a 5-year plan or something
Right.
together where we're not hit all at once. Surely we can wait a little bit on some of it and
Right.
work on it each year.
I agree with that. I would say that by the sounds of things, I would say the Dahlia Farm is the worst.
Yeah, your Dairy Farm Road is the worst.
It almost looks like you're gonna have to hit every road, because every road has a portion that,
Right, the only good, the road, I found the Miles Road was probably the best. Because he pulled the shoulders up on it after he tarred it. The North Road extension, same thing. The North Road, you know, that's not bad. There's some spots that were compromised only because of weather, not Scott's problem,
Right.
you know.
That
but-
hill's historically washed
Right.
out.
You know, the ditching on Arbos by
Yeah,
Angie Arbos,
yeah,
that was ditched way too deep, as we all know. I mean, when your
And that-
culvert's up here
right.
and your ditch is down
And that
here.
happened years ago.
Exactly. So whether or not that can be put on hold, I guess, because it's been like that forever.
Right.
You should have a culvert extension put on the Mudgett Road, on the sharp corner by the Frank West Hill Road. That sharp corner, I mean, when you come around that corner, you've got tar, and then you've got about that much dirt, and it goes right straight down. If ever that floods, you're gonna lose that whole spot.
Is that the culvert to be replaced?
Oh.
Which one's,
At the very sharp, if you're going from Route 9 to Kennebec Road, when you go around that sharp
right,
corner,
but which one is the one that was,
being replaced is just before the sand salt shed.
is that the one, the little bridge thing?
That's where you gotta have that's where your salmon is swimming. Caught 3 of them yesterday.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, your Chapman Road, you gotta fix that Chapman Road hill. All your inside corners need to be filled. And I can remember Scott saying, when you fill those, they should be quote unquote filled with reclaimed tar. That way you don't lose in your packet. That way when people cut the corners short, or if somebody cuts you off, you know, you can get on that reclaimed tar.
Well, do we want to ask Scott to give us a price, or do we?
He'll be here at the May meeting, if you wanted to talk to him about it. Either way, right now, that's why he couldn't be here tonight.
Do you know when he's back?
I think it's a week, if you wanna do another meeting.
I was
see
gonna
if
say-
he can show up.
Why don't we pick a time and do another we could be a morning meeting just
Yeah.
for that one item,
Yeah,
to discuss that one item. Put that on the agenda, make it a one-item agenda like we do sometimes to do. I would rather not wait until May
okay.
to talk to him
Yeah,
about
this
it.
doesn't wanna wait. I mean, you've got some spots that I would probably call Scott tomorrow and say, you know, we need to.
Why don't we
address that.
call Jim and see if, can you email some pictures of the Dahlia Farm Road to Jim?
Yeah.
And say, this looks like we don't wanna lose this road,
Yeah, they just went up and did a thing,
and
so.
about kind of evaluation?
Well,
Well,
no,
they did a patch on the
they
Dairy Farm.
repaired one
Right.
of the washouts that was breaking away.
Right.
So I will call tomorrow, and I know Scott's not there, but I'll talk to Jim, and have him discuss with Scott.
And I'm just
about
wondering,
lining up.
this is just a question, I know that you can pull the shoulders up and compacting shoulders is hard though, I mean, that's very labor intensive, that's very expensive.
Yeah, and a lot of it you don't have to call
Right,
back.
but I mean, you can buy I don't really know the professional term for it, the rolled hay that they roll out so that things,
Yeah.
it grows and it keeps, prevents erosion. Can we ask him about some of that stuff on some of these ditches? I mean, that's a long slope, or supposed to be a long slope. That might help keep it in place
Yeah.
if we're gonna spend the money, and it's just gonna wash out again with the next big rainstorm, you know.
You can talk to you about that, but I can tell you that some of this erosion washout has to do with culverts, driveway culverts, which has been a big, we have no regulations, people are putting in just what they want.
Right,
So, I mean, the hill
Is the
going
planning
down,
board at any stage?
they are
where they can look
implemented
at
in
that?
the new revised land use ordinance, but I
Mhm.
just had another guy the other day called me and he's putting a driveway in just past the Hill Cemetery on the North Road. I can't tell him, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. We don't have any
yeah, he
regulations
should
right
have
now.
a big culvert in
He
there.
was very good about it, and I asked Ed, went over and met him, and made a recommendation as to what he should put in for a culvert,
Okay. All right.
but,
But we still have no ordinance, so
No.
we have no backbone
No.
to stand on.
no.
So I could put an 8-inch
Yeah.
piece of pipe under my dooryard and call it
I
good.
just talked to Ed today, he's going up on the old Mudgett Road, because we've gone up there twice, because the end of that road's washed out this winter. So, they quoted me, I think $300, they're gonna go up there with the excavator, and there's a culvert up there that needs to be reset.
Right.
Dig it out, reset it, because it's not doing its job to fix. Like I said, we've gone up there, today was the second time we've gone up, and fixed that old Mudgett Road. And it's a driveway,
And she's definitely washed.
but it's an old, an old pipe. So, but that's gonna be a big thing, is a lot of these culverts washing over the road, because they're not the proper.
They're not big enough to handle
They're
a
not
lot.
proper, and the town's not regulated it, so, I mean, on top of the North Road Hill, some of those people got huge culverts,
Right.
beautiful job, but then other people were having an issue on the other side, going down that hill all winter long, of the road washing out, driveways washing out.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's culverts over there.
No, I don't know, again, I can drive it, but I don't necessarily know
Headed down
everybody's
to-
culvert.
Yeah, headed down the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
So that may become an issue, but
Well, go ahead, go ahead.
Can the board implement a temporary requirement for culverts?
it'd be in an ordinance.
Has to be in an ordinance? Could we put together our own ordinance? I know the planning board
I
is
can-
putting it in the new land use.
They're hopefully gonna have it ready for June, the
Okay,
thing, but
all right. Well, let's address the immediate. Can we call Jim and give him some
Yeah.
pictures and tell him we don't want that road breaking apart over there? And we take an estimate as soon as possible, if he wants to,
It's almost gonna take a survey of all of the roads. I would
Exactly.
think.
well, and you have trouble, historically, you have trouble spots on every road.
Sure,
I mean, you have trouble spots on every road,
Yeah.
that's just the way that rolls. The top of the hill on the north road's always, by Dale Hatch's house, is always
plus
washed
this
out.
was a very unusual winter as far as rain goes.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of heavy rain.
We did.
Yeah.
I know you wouldn't know.
Sorry about that, I should have said that differently. But, well, let's pick a date and set a meeting in just a couple of weeks or so and see if we can sit down with them to talk about just that, the shoulders and the stuff like that. But I take an estimate like right away
yeah,
for the Downy Farm Road. And, go from there.
Do you know off the top of your head how much we have left in roads for this fiscal?
I don't. But I'll give you an
That was my
estimate.
next question, is what do you have money left over from the $2 million loan?
I think you did.
We put any money we had left over from the loan back on the loan, I believe. Isn't that what we agreed?
I thought, yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so.
We didn't keep any money from the loan or anything else.
Cindy, can you increase the overlay?
They can set the overlay at whatever they want.
Because I remember before, we used to have a large overlay.
But we purposely, I remember last year, put it down so that the mill rate didn't have to go up as much.
Yeah,
Because that's how you build your surplus, is with an overlay. Whether it's high, medium, or low. But I think your overlay is 26,000. We used to set it at 60.
We got like $7,900 left in roads.
in roads.
Yep.
Go a long ways.
Yeah.
So can we, are you done with the budget?
Yeah, I think so, unless you got any other questions.
No, I
It
will-
was the budget agenda such that it was more keeping a status quo of what we've done in years past, or is there anything to?
No, your biggest increase, well, not biggest, but a lot of your increases were, insurances went up. 5 went up because of minimum wage. Same with elections, workman's comp was up, unemployment went down. You gotta get new signs for E911. Fire department wages went up. They had a new contract for the animal control, so that went up. And some of your roads, that went up. You know, it's across the board, I mean, it's,
And the homestead valuation,
that kills us.
that kills us, that does not do us
No.
any favors.
Well, like Cindy said, it's great for the cities, but not for the country.
Because boy, it's really,
Did that make sense to you, what I showed you?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. It's too bad we couldn't explain that to people though. Well,
It's pretty simple that, 2 years ago, you had $100 and you were dividing $50 in it and your mill rate was 2.
right,
Now you've got $80 and you're dividing, and that number goes up.
Have we talked about the building committee?
Not yet.
Okay. Do you want to, or,
It's on here,
oh, okay.
if you want.
you wanna hang for a few minutes?
Not especially.
So,
Supper's at 7.
Supper's at 7. Well, that
Oh,
clock
you got
says,
time.
that clock says 11:25 and this one says 10, so you're all set.
before the budget, one of the things that the fire department brought to the budget committee was, an article, to purchase 12.
Right, this is a big deal, kind of.
Yeah, air, SCBA's,
Yeah, thanks.
air
So-
packs.
Let's state this for the record. So you went to the budget committee requesting money for 12 SCBA's,
Right.
which are
Air packs.
new air packs.
Correct, yep.
And why do we need 12 all at once?
Because the ones we have now are currently 15 years or older. And they're rather, a lot of them you can't get packs for, and we've had numerous issues with them failing all year long. And
Okay,
And they expire in December?
correct,
of 18?
they're, yeah.
That was piss poor planning by the fire department prior.
Well, I have an issue with some of this, and not that you can point fingers to anybody, it shouldn't be considered that way, but ever since I was on the budget committee, starting with that, the fire department always asked for new tanks, and it was always approved. But apparently, it was never purchased. So,
There's a difference between the bottles
yeah,
and the SCBA unit.
oh,
they bought new
They
bottles
did get bottles.
for
And that-
those units, but to buy, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you get new, you can't get the ones we have anymore, they expire in December, so they've gotta get the whole new setup, and the old bottles won't fit these new.
The new setups, and you
Is
can't
that
get,
correct, Brian?
Yeah. so
and you
the
can't
taps
get the
on
old bottles anymore either?
You can still get the old bottles, but the packs themselves are gonna expire. The NFPA standard is gonna be, it's being changed in 2019, I believe it is, or September of this year, actually, it's changing. And none of those meet it. We still have the old, they have to manually turn the pass alarms on. You can't even buy those anymore. We robbed from other departments, and begged to, just to keep them in service.
Right.
You can't, they just wear out.
How much is in each, how much is one SPCA?
I did bring the stuff out, it's right around,
Are they between like $7,000-8,000?
I think it was like 75, 100 a piece, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's do away with matches.
But
We do,
when they approached the budget committee,
Right,
they approached not to raise it from taxes, to do just like we did with the rescue truck, because that's what that was saved for,
right, right.
to take it from surplus.
I do have some other quotes, and that was the high quote that I put in,
Okay,
just in case things change before then.
okay,
But I do have a couple lower quotes than that,
okay,
7,000-8,000 less than what's on there, so.
okay. For the total, 7,000 or 8,000 less.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
for the total.
When we suggested to Ralph about putting it in an article to pull it out of surplus, the one thing I had forgotten to speak of is, I don't even know if that's a right idea, because if they vote it down, he's still without air packs.
Right, he's without, there's no interior firefighting. Is that what you use the SPCA's for?
Some outside people use them, maybe,
As long as they still float test, I mean, you can try to get by with them, but if somebody gets killed or injured, an injury happens, God forbid, and
Gee,
then they go by the NFPA standard, so.
how could you not have them?
Yeah,
That's why I say, if they vote it down, what are you gonna do?
And there is a finance option as well, it was like 12,000 a year, I think, so, for 5 years, I believe it was, or
you know,
something of that nature, if that was more appealing, but the budget committee recommended doing that.
we could put both options in,
that's
both articles
exactly
in.
what I was just gonna say. First, the approval to purchase them, and then an approval to either take it from our surplus or finance them,
Right.
and let the town decide,
Mhm.
on that part. That's what that's how I would approach it.
Well, you're gonna have it three ways, because if you're gonna approve this of buying them, one is gonna be surplus, one is finance problem, or through taxation. Because if they vote the first two down,
Yeah. I hate
hope they don't
to,
vote the third
I
one
hate to
down.
raise it from taxes, though. It's just a one-year event, one-time event. And then how long do they last after you purchase them? After the new
15
one?
years.
15?
Yeah.
15 years.
That's the shelf life on them, so.
So we haven't purchased any new ones
Well,
ever?
The thing is like he said,
They were handed
the
out.
rules are changing on them, so the equipment's changing.
Right,
So they're not making what we have anymore, because they're changing the standards. So this is why we can't just buy a couple here and a couple there. If we start, the new equipment will not interchange with what we have.
the old one.
Will your air truck work with the,
The aircraft, well, yes.
With the old ones,
It just fills the bottles.
just fills the bottles, and the new ones, either one.
Right, we can fill up to 6,500 PSI with that. The new ones are 55, I believe, the old ones are 45, so.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. You're asking for 12, could we purchase 6 and then purchase 2 and then purchase 2 and then purchase 2? Would that, I mean, I'm just curious.
It limits you pretty bad, but I mean, you can do whatever you want, I mean, there's nothing says you can't do it that way. The issue would be the fit testing, because everything is different, the masks are all outdated and new.
Right.
And the bottles don't interchange with each other, so that would
Yeah.
be kind of a logistical nightmare and the rehab end of things. If they would,
Again, we gotta go back to not using that stuff. If NFPA has changed the standards, and our men shouldn't be in the building with that stuff, they can do it, 100%. But
Right,
if something happens to any one of them, our ass is screwed.
yeah,
It's a lot of money, I know it is.
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
yeah,
But on the end run, it's gonna be better off finding a way to come up with it and spend it than we are to get caught later on down the road,
right.
or something happened to somebody.
And we're not the only department dealing with it. I mean, I've seen it, a couple of different towns storied in the news and stuff that, they're caught in the same spot.
Right.
Having to try to go out and try to buy enough to supply the fire department. Because in 15 years, the standards are gonna change again, and the board that sits here at that time is gonna run into the same thing.
Right.
It's not something that you can, I mean, we could start a equipment fund, which we have, and start putting money each year in it, so in 15 years, you have that $80,000 or $90,000 probably, or close to 100 by then, to purchase them.
How much do we have in surplus? Fund balance?
After
6 of
rescue takes theirs, 675,000. Started off with 908.
No,
8.
86. And then we took 142 for taxes and the rescue check. But
Yes, Cindy?
That's getting down
Yeah.
to what we ought to have.
But remember, we don't need a high balance anymore like we did before with the other fiscal year, trying to float ourselves because our fiscal year changed.
Right.
The
So
spending.
we don't have to.
We used to take out a loan to pay the bills, remember?
Cindy?
Can you do a blanket PO where you put in an order and you have them shipped and billed in increments? You still get maybe a better deal for doing the 12, but they don't all arrive all at the same time and it gets broke down.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I just asked him, if we bought a few and then,
But a blanket PO, you can usually get the best price instead of putting in an order and putting in an order. You put in one order, have it broken down in the blanket PO.
But you still have the problem of them having illegal tanks.
right.
Come December.
And we would, if you're gonna order them, I would order them at the best price. You better search the land.
And it's a standard business practice. Like if you're ordering from a manufacturer, you just call it a blanket PO and.
Right, they give you a quote for the lowest possible price
Right.
because you're gonna order, reorder. Yeah, I got it. Is there anything else we wanna talk about budget? Any other great news you got for us?
Nope.
Like
Instead of 88,454, if you add the 80,000, you're looking at 160,000 increase on your budget.
But we do have about $1 million in new value, or close to it, for this year that will help subside some of that.
Okay. You know, I forgot about that point you just made. Usually we were living on a wing and a prayer for 3 months. And now where the tax bills go out, the end of year is in June, your money starts coming in.
It was actually longer than that because our fiscal year ended in December.
Right,
Our tax bills went out in July.
right.
and we're due in, October, August, I guess, August.
Yeah.
But you figure from January to July is almost 6 months. We were floating this town for 6 months on their fund balance,
Right.
which now we don't have to.
Go ahead, Ray.
While we're on the budget, I think it may be wise to skip right into the fire station committee, because it's gonna tie.
Well, the
Well, is it
building-
getting close to 7?
The building,
You're talking,
6:35.
you're talking a lot of money with all of this stuff, and you're gonna add to it, I think, right now.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so the building committee,
We need 50,000 for a survey for where we're gonna put the fire station.
what? 50,000 for
No,
what?
no, I'm just kidding. You need an engineer.
I can show you where we should put the fire station.
Yes, I know, but unfortunately, the fire chief wants it one place, the fireman wants another place. The building committee would suggest it over there, or over there, or over there. We've come to the conclusion where, number one, the old fire station, between Austin and I came up with 225,000 to repair that back to where it needs to be. Austin said at least 3 to 350. So that's pretty much ruled out on repairing. You're gonna have to keep it up until you can build a new fire station. You're probably looking anywhere from 400 to 600,000, probably. When I talked to Dean, he said between 400 to 600,000, up to 800,000
No,
for a new fire station.
we're not,
Okay.
we're not gonna spend that.
The question to the fire chief and to Chris was, are you building the building just to house the vehicles? Are you building the building to not only house the vehicles, but to also do work out of? So, you know,
We can hash that out.
exactly. So that's why I say, I think you guys wanted the fire station on that end, right?
Yeah.
Right?
On which
The
end?
fi-
Uh-oh.
by the
School side,
school side.
attached to this building.
Okay, when I first came up with the idea 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago, I thought about putting it right over here. You know, somewhere, because we've got the spot. Talking to Brent Summers, he'd like the fire station down here at the end of the road with his own driveway. Well, you're talking a new septic, new well, et cetera, so you just went to $1 million building. But the final decision is, you need an engineer to tell us what we need for the fire station, where to put it, and what it's gonna be used for.
I would have to beg to differ with you there. I would not listen to an engineer tell me what we could afford or what we need. In my little brain,
Mhm.
for any that it's worth, what we need to do is replace what we have up there, which is storage. A nice mezzanine, a tower, this, that, and the other thing. I agree with these guys, I think it should be on this side of the driveway, so the sun beats on the front of it, right behind those pines, right down the driveway behind those pines.
Yeah, the only problem with the fire station over there was brought up was the fact that you have kids over here. If you have a call coming in and out, you don't wanna run over a kid. My thought was, if the kids hear an alarm, you tell the teachers to hold them.
And then, they could be done here next year. You can't build a building on
I'm just
something
telling you
that's
what the
too-
building committee
Yeah.
all come up with.
I think that it could go down this driveway on the left-hand side. It should be a nice building to house vehicles, to house equipment, heated, new. And then if your building sets something like this, and it has its own little driveway out to our driveway, on this end, you leave a pass door and don't put a lot of infrastructure right there. And in the future, when you start getting a development out here and you have more tax base, 25 years from now, I'll be long gone, you could put more fire station this way. I would keep it down a little bit, so you could expand on it. But I don't see, you got the well probably is, the well's right up
Wells
front.
up back.
Well's up back.
Your septic tank's right out here underneath the drain.
I mean, a couple of toilets you could certainly put into the existing septic system. But, that would not cost you more than $400,000.
Right, the other thing would be to put it up against this building and have it connecting to this building so that they could go in and out.
That would be really difficult.
I'm just,
I think that would be a difficult thing to do, and I don't know that it's necessary. I mean,
Okay. I'll let them fight their battle. I'm just telling you what the building committee come up with. We also came up with scrapping the school and building a fire station town office up at the site up there now. I'm just telling you what was talked about.
Yeah,
But truly, if I might jump in,
Oh, definitely.
the conclusion was, the entire group was, that a consultant needs to be hired because it's not.
Not an engineer, I'm sorry, consultant.
It's not building a garage like you would house your trucks.
oh, no, I understand that.
There's different requirements that nobody here can speak in any sort of expert manner to know what we need to get.
Mhm.
So that's really why we said, we need to have a consultant brought in to know what we need and what we don't need. So when we say we want X, Y, Z thing, when we learn, we really need only X and Y.
Mhm. Well, I think we have some resources. I think we look for some resources first before we spend money on a consultant. A consultant can say, I mean, there must be statutes. You know, all garages have to have exhaust ports in the doors and stuff like that. You know, I think we get an idea of what we want first and then maybe show it to somebody
Right.
and say, does this meet all the needs?
So, jump in at any time, chief, but I
You say
agree. I agree with the general idea of that, but I think that's giving too small of a view. In that, I don't know what I need to know that I need to know,
Right.
without bringing somebody in who builds fire stations all the time. Or builds public safety buildings, you know, Nickerson or O'Day. They've built some buildings, or WBRC,
Yeah.
they know this stuff. I don't have time to look through all these statutes. Cindy
Right.
certainly doesn't have time to do that, and I don't think Chief Shaw
Well,
has of the mindset to do that as well.
it depends, I just think it depends on our usage. If you bring in WBRC, it's 75 grand right on the table.
Right.
Just to say, just for them to go in their archives and pull out something and say, you can try this. We don't have we don't have the resources Bangor, Brewer, and that sort of
Right.
thing does.
Yeah.
So,
But the standard is still the same as to
I-
what the minimum must be.
I totally get it, I totally get it. But I'd like to, I mean, I could even call around, I could dig around, I think, and pull up plans for like Winterport's fire station that they just did.
Call Dean Jordan at J.M. Brown. I know he did say his for it. You know,
Right, but a lot of those fire stations are fire stations. Bob.
exactly,
You
right.
know, I don't know that we can afford a full-fledged fire station. We need a new building, we really, really need a new building. I mean, I go in there and all I see is wafer board going up in flames. That's what I see in there, honestly. Old wiring and everything. I don't think we have, like I said, I don't know that we have the resources for a full-fledged fire station.
Right.
Well, I think we have resources for a new building with the possibility of expansion in the future. You know, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Jump in anytime, Brian. Jump in anytime, you guys.
You don't wanna know where I am.
No, but I think Chris is right. I think you shop around, find somebody that, like you said, we don't know.
Right,
I mean, I know Rick's built many buildings.
right.
You know, building a building to house concrete is different than
Right.
building a
No,
house.
and
I totally
I know
agree. I totally agree.
You know,
But I mean, what do you guys use your current building for right now? Storage,
That's all-
equipment storage, equipment maintenance. You have a little kitchenette, a couple bathrooms, a decontamination shower, maybe a washer and dryer.
Half those things it doesn't have, but it probably should.
Okay, that's my thought process.
But you're absolutely right. There's two things going on. So those things you mentioned, half of them we don't have, we should.
Right,
The other thing is, I wouldn't want to base building anything based on what that station is. Because we've
No.
already determined that's
No.
not what we need.
Not the station, what your uses are, what your needs are.
Right, and I think uses would evolve if we didn't have a station that is a station we have.
Right, right. But by the same token, you see where I am at.
agree.
You know, if you call, yes, Nick and O'Day have done million-dollar jobs.
Right,
And but I don't think we have the resources for a $1 million fire station.
I
So-
think there's somewhere, I don't, and again,
And I think
you
there's a
build
happy
buildings
medium,
all the
yes.
time.
Yeah,
But there's gotta be somewhere, because, I mean, I'm not gonna make phone calls all day long.
no, I hear
Whereas,
you.
and I don't think you wanna do that, and Cindy certainly doesn't have time to do that. That's not really our thing. Whereas we could call somebody, maybe not WBRC or whatever, but there's companies that just deal with, you know, building public safety type buildings. We say, hey, this is what we got, we have nothing to spend on it, what can you do?
Right.
I think you get, correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking for somebody that can sit down with you and say, what's the minimum that we need to do?
And I want them to come with ideas as well,
Like-
because I don't know everything that I need to know.
But somebody, we need a building to
Mhm.
house our trucks.
Mhm.
What do we need in this building?
Right.
Right.
To house our trucks. So like, one of the things we talked about was like connecting to this building.
Putting a breezeway
Right.
between here and
And the, you know, the difficulties with that as like, as far as like tying into the septic in this building and things like that are, you know, the guys, when they're fighting fire, they're dealing with a lot of contaminants that they cannot be brought into an environment where there are children. And, you know, there's a lot of things that are required that obviously our station doesn't currently meet.
Right.
We need to know what those requirements are, and I'm not sure what Cindy's thinking as far
I'm just
as.
talking building.
Okay, yeah.
When we put up a building, to put those trucks in, what's the minimum that we need? I know we're gonna need an exhaust system,
Right.
which we don't have right now,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, you know,
Get
you
what
need
your
somewhere to
basic
clean.
needs and then go from there as to what, you know, you would like to see in it in the future and go from there.
Right.
But I think what they're trying to do is get somebody on board to tell us what we need
For mechanical,
for
guidelines,
minimum
yeah.
amount to put a
To meet
building up.
regulations and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
I believe that's what they're looking
Yes, that is what we're, because we don't know what we don't know
Right,
until that somebody tells us what we don't know.
for. Right.
right.
And we need somebody to tell us that.
And
And the thing is, you don't wanna build a $400,000 station based on, and I'm certainly not saying that's what would happen, but based on what we think we need, and then we get into it, nope, that's wrong, and then you're having to pull up a concrete floor because the drain was connected wrong,
Right.
and things weren't done correctly. We've seen what happens
Oh,
when
yeah,
things
we've
aren't
already
done
seen all
correctly,
that.
right?
yes.
So
Totally get it.
So we gotta know what we gotta know.
Totally get it, totally get it.
there is grants out there probably, you know, towards this.
Yeah.
You know, the thought and idea was to pull money from surplus to, you know, to do part of this, but after seeing what needs to come out of surplus now,
Yeah.
I question that.
But you guys were looking at just like a few $1,000s.
I don't know what it costs.
Right.
I don't
That's the
know.
other
We
thing.
didn't wanna make phone calls and then come to a meeting and say, "No, we're absolutely not doing that."
Right.
And then we've just wasted our time doing that.
Why
So
don't,
we need to know about if we can even explore the idea.
well, why don't we go to the state fire, can we go to like this, would the state fire marshal's office have regulations on public safety buildings?
Like fire safety.
I mean, it's sort of like a public works building, we're not, again, I don't mean to do anything weird here. It's not housing firefighters. It will be the fire station, but it's not housing firefighters. You know what I mean? So a public works building is more like your exhaust system, your, I don't know, sprinklers, and, you know, that sort of thing. It's probably more mechanical, your mechanical is probably much more than just a regular building.
Mhm.
You know, you gotta plan for plenty of outlets and your air and all that stuff. I understand what you're saying, I do understand what you're saying, but let's start small first. Which I don't know how we'll do that, I don't really have an answer right off the top of my head, but can we investigate it first? before
Where would
we,
you like it to be investigated from?
I would like to actually, I'd like to have a conversation with Jen Bartlett, who's a state fire marshal, and see where she could send me for resources. And that's what I'd like to start with. I see her often, okay, well, not every weekend, but, you know, often enough. And I'm sure she would come to a meeting and sit down with us and say, if she knows where to send us, you know, what are your basic guidelines for a public safety / public works building? You know what I mean? I get where you're coming from. Don't know, but it was scaring me with 50 grand for a consultant.
Well, I don't know where, I don't.
No, I was
You were
just,
just blowing that
I know,
number
so
up.
that's
He
his
came out with
fault.
nothing.
Yeah, so he's just
Pulled that
gonna,
number out of
It's all
the air.
his fault.
he's gonna stir the pot over that supper, just so you know. That's what he's gonna do.
just more money.
Yeah, just some money. Okay,
Oh, boy.
are we done with you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Does the town of Newburgh own this building, or does RSU 22
RSU
own this
22.
building? So how do you add on to this building when you don't own it? And who owns the land this building is
So-
sitting on?
RSU 22 owns the building and the land.
Okay.
Our lease is up in
2 years.
20
or 21, I can't remember.
2020 or 21, and then we purchased the building for
I don't know.
$1.
Right.
And then we will own everything. We own the land and everything. If we wanted to attempt to build something before then, we would just sit down and create a land lease with RSU 22.
We've
That's
already
it.
spoken to them, and they've spoken to their attorneys that, yes, it could be done with a lease if we want to do this.
For a fee.
Could be, but,
They don't do anything for nothing.
yeah.
Well, that's, if they're gonna sell us the building for $1, I don't imagine the land lease is gonna be too much, you know, but we'd cross that bridge when we
Something
come
that
to
you
it.
want to investigate.
Yeah,
Comes with 22 acres.
yeah. Okay, so that takes care of, building inspection committee and Captain Troublemaker here.
652.
6:52, supper's almost ready, but thank you for your work on the budget,
Yep.
and thank you to the rest of your budget committee, and we'll start
Good luck.
thinking about it. Good luck, good luck.
Stay by the phone.
Stay by your phone.
All set?
Yes, sir.
Go eat.
Thank you, Bud.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
I'm just making some notes.
So are we doing the changes that he said? The adding the money to roads or? It's up
I
to
do-
Do we
you.
have a work session on the budget?
Yeah, I was gonna
We
say,
can,
can
yes.
I've not studied this enough,
Okay,
for making decisions tonight.
okay.
So that's a good idea, let us sit there, because I see where they put 20,000 in to the budget, to the road budget.
I did. What I did was I combined all that little extra money, used to be, I think we had 18 last year, between all the different categories, and I just put it in miscellaneous because it was all in, cold patch and different
Right.
things, calcium and stuff, so we don't buy calcium anymore, and we don't, buy cold patch to speak of, so.
Right.
But if you wanna, it's on the agenda further down to have some extra meetings between now and town meetings.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I would like to do that. So where are we? Animal control, how about that?
How about rescue? You do
Oh,
that already?
Chris, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We've
She said
already
you-
talked a lot. So, 11 calls last month for did not receive responses. Last month we did training on geriatric emergencies. The expedition's been ordered. The expected delivery date is still to be established, but it's like 18 to 20 weeks. From time of order.
Okay.
So the last thing on my thing is I want to talk about getting rid of the current vehicle.
Okay.
So I'd like to propose that we establish a sealed bid process.
Okay.
I think that'd probably be the simplest way to handle it.
Yeah, how did we do that? We did that, with the old town office, but did we advertise? We advertised it for a while. Don't we have to advertise?
We didn't do it with the old town office.
Oh, that's right.
That was one of our
That was
options.
a piece of property I'm thinking of that we did with. Do you typically do that? For
We can,
surplus equipment or old equipment or?
yeah, you can advertise it on MMA.
Okay.
I mean, you don't wanna, you put it in the paper, it's gonna cost you hundreds of
Well,
dollars.
I'm not suggesting that at all.
Okay,
But
I'm
you
just-
can advertise it out and just have a deadline,
okay,
for like your meeting in May to
okay.
open the bids and.
Use it for burn training.
Use it for furniture.
So, I'm proposing, and you guys can certainly make it how you want, but if they'd be accepted until May 31st, because we're already sort of halfway through this month.
Yeah,
And your meeting's gonna be at the beginning of next month. So till May 31st, in a sealed envelope being labeled sealed bids for the vehicle with the description on it. Open at the June Selectmen's meeting. If the vehicle is sold to another public safety department, and I'll determine whether it's a public safety department or not. The siren and lights and stuff will be kept on it, but if not, we'll have to have that removed. Which will just come off the cost of how much of it they pay for it. And if they don't pay $1, then we'll just have to figure out where the money's gonna come to the remainder of it from our budget, because there's plenty of money still left in the budget. It's also, we're also gonna have to de-letter it.
Okay, we have to de-letter it. I get that, okay.
So,
Do we have to take the lights and stuff off it, or
I don't.
do we want the lights for something else?
No, I just wanna take the lenses off, so when I sell it to some 16-year-old kid, he's not running around town with sirens and stuff on. So.
That's a great idea, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
That's what I was thinking.
right, so, I just further recommend that after, when you guys open the bids, obviously you just have the option to refuse or reject any bids. And payment must be made within 10 days, 10 business days of that,
Yeah.
otherwise it goes to the next person, so we're not sitting on it forever. And that after it's been paid for, they need to, remove the vehicle within 30 days of bid opening.
Okay.
So, like I said in my report there, that the money would be, from the sale would be used to offset the removal of the equipment, and the remainder would go into our capital account.
Okay. That
so you
sounds,
wanna get together Thursday and come up with
Yeah.
that?
Well, yeah, so Facebook, on the town's
MMA.
Facebook, our Facebook, and Newburgh Fire Rescue, the MMA website, and then just putting a sign by the road,
okay,
and the vehicle.
okay, fair.
The vehicle is non-inspected, so that whoever buys will have to tow it off,
Yeah.
which will be outlined in the sealed bid requirement.
Okay. Okay, you all
Um,
set with it?
That's all I have.
Okay. Sorry I jumped over you, I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay, that's good, that sounds good to me, Chris, I think. You all set with Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. Animal control.
I am your new animal control officer, Crystal Nichols.
Hi, Crystal Nicholson, very nice to meet you.
This is
Wow.
Stanley Smith, Renee O'Donnell, and Brian Carlisle.
No,
Nice.
actually, I'm Skip Smith, that's Renee.
This is Ralph Shaw, the fire chief, and Chris Fox, the rescue chief.
Very good, so you got a lot of experience, I hear.
I don't have a lot of experience. I still learn as I go. I have been doing it for 3 years. This will be my 3rd year.
Okay,
You guys make my 7th town.
okay,
So I did tell Cindy, sometimes you want to feel important as a town, but sometimes you're on that bottom totem pole for a little bit. Do address all my calls. I do answer like 98% of all my calls as they're coming in.
okay,
I have not gone to a call.
okay,
If anybody can't get a hold of me and they feel like it's a bigger emergency, they can always call dispatch. When the private number comes up, I know that there's something more important that I should be doing, so,
all right.
yeah.
That's great, and you know, these guys have little department reports each month. We don't expect you to be here every month. If you wanna come, you can. But it'd be nice if you just maybe emailed something to Cindy that,
You'll actually have your own thumb drive. I list all my calls that I go out on, even
Oh.
if it's a nothing call, you're still going to know about the nothing call.
Okay,
There's a paper trail to all of my calls. I log all of my miles so that you all know what you're paying for.
okay.
So,
Great.
I'm hoping to make my raise that way, so.
Where do you actually reside? Where do you-
I live in Troy.
Oh,
It's
okay.
about 13 miles from my house to here, so, yeah,
It's not bad.
it's not bad. I'm centrally located within all of my towns, so, yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
No, that sounds great. Very nice to meet you.
you as well.
Glad you were able to come.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anything else on that?
I put her on here tonight, but from now on, it'll just be her written report,
Okay.
unless something comes up, she needs to be here.
Yeah, it's
And she showed
anything,
me reports from other towns, so she brought them
Yeah.
right into the monthly reports every month as to what she's doing and all
Okay.
that stuff.
All, everything. My summonses, you all get a copy of my summonses that are filed in a court. I do understand there is a case going on. I don't know if it resolved yet or not.
Supposedly it was yesterday, but I don't know.
I'm interested to see the outcome of that one. And the stray cat situation. I hear you have some of that going on, but I'll take stray cats over dog bites any day. Yeah.
all right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad to have you on board there. Okay, so bank recs for February. Oh, I thought I shut that off. Sorry,
I'm going to
guys.
scoot out because I'm at least 98% sure my suffers, but.
You and Buddy both.
Yeah, right? Have a good night.
Okay, you
Thank
too. Bank recs for,
So I gave you the bank recs for February,
yeah,
and I gave you the bank recs and budget reports for March.
okay.
If you can sign, somebody can sign the cover sheets and at least one that you've read them over and get it back to me. The insurance budget.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
On the budget, you'll notice, insurance increased. Somehow, I made a mistake last year and, only put half in, I don't know how I did it, but the number was only half of what it was gonna cost for the year. For the risk pool insurance.
Okay.
So,
What page do you want, Cindy? Am I looking at anything specific?
it's on the insurance page.
Page 6?
6 at the very bottom.
Okay.
If you notice, see, I put 1192,
Yes.
but it was 4872. I have no idea, and that's for, buildings and all of that good stuff, so I'm not sure how it happened.
Okay.
But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Bob Vino came in and seen me, and he's gonna come back, but, as you know, Bob owes the town quite a few taxes. He no longer has cows, we had to give them all up. And he's looking to get his taxes paid up. Him and I talked briefly about selling a portion of the property. And he said that he has a couple of people that have approached him, butters. And I told him if he could speak to them and get back to us, that we'd work with him, knowing that the money would come towards his taxes to get him paid up.
Right.
Hoping to get enough to pay out the taxes.
Do we have liens on his property?
The town owns his property, has for many, many years,
Oh,
so.
Long time.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully we can get working on that, but he,
So he's given up all his cows.
so,
Just as long as it's done all through the legal
Right,
channels
right.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
so,
All
But I told him we'd work with him if he found somebody to purchase enough property to cover what he owes the town at least,
Yeah,
that we'd work with him, because the town would have to sign off on
yes,
at least that, getting back on,
exactly.
so,
Okay.
um,
I saw your general assistance
Yeah.
center.
I gave you a copy of our general assistance compliance notice, we're in compliance.
Yep.
I gave you the information, on the ranked choice voting, just for an FYI.
Yeah,
I already explained the website, I talked to Janine, because she is not, insured as a contractor. We've kept her expenses under $600. But I talked to the insurance company, and she just has to do the independent contractor paperwork and be determined by the state, and we can do it that way.
oh, okay.
Okay,
All right.
so she'd be able to work more.
Right, we would just send her a 1099 at the end of the year, is that correct?
Yes.
As a subcontract,
Yes.
yeah. okay.
Yes. So we're gonna work on that, because I
Okay.
really need to have more time. I try to email stuff up to her, but,
Yeah,
if she could come here once a month, and I could just write on a note, and she could have access to the information and
Right.
do the thing.
okay.
A lot of the emails are big, because minutes and documents and
Sure,
so, but I am trying to get stuff updated.
okay.
I did wanna go back, just to ask, the spreadsheet that I gave you on the homestead, did everybody understand what that said?
Right, so the more our homestead, this is how I took it, the more our homestead value is, the less money we get.
No, well, sort of.
Okay,
This started in 2013, and what I've shown you is our valuation,
right,
in 2013 and our valuation in 2018, okay? Or 17, 18, our last commitment. And we've lost $4,447,194 in valuation,
Really?
of which we're getting reimbursed half of that. That's the hard part, is
We only get 50% back.
the state reimburses 50%.
right,
So if the other towns or cities, bigger cities that get growth and big money and valuation buildup, they've had enough revenue or assessment to compensate for this. The little towns like Newburgh and surrounding towns, where we're mainly residents, it's come right off what we had, our budget, 2 years ago, we were dividing our budget into a number that this year or last year, we're dividing, and our budget didn't go up much, but dividing it into a lesser number to get our mill rate.
right.
So that's where a lot of the mill rate increase has come the last few years, is the increase in the homestead. Because it's taken value away that we've been dividing our budget into.
Right. So when the homestead valuation reduces our overall valuation, is that where I'm going with that?
Okay, so our valuation, today, or 2 years ago, was $10,000, just for a number.
Mhm.
Every time a homestead application is processed and approved, $10,000 comes off that $10 million, or $10,000,
Right.
every time. Well, at 2 years ago, it was $10,000 is what it was. Well, now it's 20. So what hurt us was that $20,000 increase.
Right.
because we didn't have enough growth in our assessment or evaluation in the last 2 years to compensate losing $2 million in value.
No growth in the town,
No,
right? No new homes?
No.
No new nothing?
of which for a $20,000 homestead value that each person gets, the state reimburses the town half. So, I mean, taxes go up, but usually you get enough revenue generated assessment to compensate for them. When you don't, that's what happens. That was a big hit.
Okay. Oh, cemetery committee.
Aaron, I just put down Aaron Dumont and Ann Kreback have been cleaning up debris, fixed all the trash cans, put new bags in, and as of last, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, they're starting to put flags out. It is a little early, but they had the time, there's no regulations on, they have to be up by Memorial, that's all. So they figured it was a good time to get out instead of waiting until the bugs were all out.
Okay.
We had the flag, so.
Okay. So, back to roads, I know that Buddy got us on that.
Yeah,
Did some shimming on the Dye Farm Road.
right. We did a little bit of what I call erosion control. It was a matter of the snowbank was blocking the water, so they went right at the bridge on Kimball Road.
Okay, all right.
I gave you copies of the 2 DOT notices on the 2 projects DOT's doing. One is the paving on Weston Avenue from here to Hamden,
Right,
and the other one is culvert replacement. I believe it's up in around Piper Mountain, up in by the Trundy Road, close to that, I believe.
the DOT's doing that?
Kennebec Road's a state road. So they have awarded the bids and we'll be starting the process.
So we were supposed to decide on a bond for these contractors based on our last
No, we,
meeting.
oh, and
Big-
I called the
big
guy
use
and he never got back to me, so I haven't heard back from him. They've not, it hasn't become an issue. They haven't started, so I'm thinking
Is that
that
the
they
one where they wanted us to give them a
sign
free
off
pass?
on, yes, give
on
them a
posted
special
roads?
permit,
Yeah.
yes.
Recreation events.
Because we don't have a recreation department or recreation committee, I've had people approach about continue the walking in the gym and the stretching class that used to take place, she started back up. I let her start back up. Nobody's come and walked yet, but I was inquiring, but I didn't see that we needed a recreation department in order for those things to happen, as long as, you know, I can manage them
Okay.
during office hours. The stretching class this morning was very well attended. Her and I came to the agreement that any money donated, because they donate like $1,
Right,
we're gonna put in the Newburgh Festival Fund to
okay.
help pay for the birthday celebration or potential birthday celebration next year.
Okay,
So
that sounds fine with me. Meetings from now until town meeting.
mainly just to have a couple extra to get this budget
I'd like
finished
to go
up
through
and
the budget,
town
yeah.
meeting.
Do you wanna pick a date?
Up to you guys.
Do you have,
I don't think it'll matter anymore. right now that tax season's over, she can probably
Okay,
turn me down in the morning and going,
okay. Do we want to,
I can come any night if Brian can come.
okay, so do we wanna have a meeting just, with Scott when he gets back to go over, we wanna schedule a meeting for
We can
that?
do maybe a combined one if you wanna wait and set it, let me contact them and see when they can make it,
Okay,
and see when they can get that,
do
and then I
just road and budget,
road and budget.
just road and budget.
Yep.
All right, that can, I mean, just a tentative, I
Yep.
mean, you wanna do it the first week of May? Next, you'll talk to him, today's the 17th. Next week would probably be too quick, too soon.
Yeah, he's in Germany, and I don't know how long he's in Germany, so.
I would call
don't know
Jim.
when.
I would call Jim, he'll be able to give you. He's pretty handy down there.
So, okay, so I'll contact you tomorrow and see what they say, and we can organize it from there.
Okay. You around the first week of May?
Yeah, I've got some days that are kind of out, but
Okay, all right. Why don't you check with Brian first?
Okay,
I'm just working. That's all I'm doing. Town meeting items, the SCBA's, we've been.
we've already done that,
Yeah, amending the marijuana ordinance, is that what we want to talk about?
yes. I gave you the email from Bobby Storman as
Yes.
to what she recommends for amendments.
Yeah, that's.
that's all right.
And then I gave you a copy.
I just printed it off.
I gave you a copy of the ordinance with the strike through of what she'd like to see amended. And if you're in agreement with this, the article will just say, in favor of eliminating the wording retail marijuana cultivation facilities and retail marijuana product manufacturing facilities.
Right, because they have to cultivate the marijuana for retail.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
Did you find yours?
No. How can we make changes on an ordinance then?
You can't. You just can authorize an article going
Oh,
into
okay.
town meeting
That's
to
what it
do it.
right.
Oh,
Asking the people to be able to do it.
This Bobby Storman is the lady that came to us
Yes.
before, correct?
Yes.
They are still interested in Newburgh?
Yes. Yep.
Maybe they should buy Bob Beal's farm.
When
There's
you
a lot of
go
good,
on.
a lot of good dirt over there, I would imagine. Okay, and then, the pole permit.
Alright, so this is a pole permit for Amera. And it's for, the Frank West Road. We have, people that are gonna be building up in the Frank West Road. And
This is just for a,
this is just for poles up the Frank West Road to get to their property.
okay, it's not an easement?
Nope.
It doesn't say easement on it anywhere, it just
No.
says to set poles.
Nope.
Oh, okay. No, I say more power to them, go ahead. Do we have to vote to give you permission to sign this?
Yes.
Alright, I make a motion that we allow Cindy to sign the, utility location permit application that we have received from Emera Maine to set poles on the Frank West Road.
Second.
All in favor? 3-0. Okay, so ownership of the church on Western Avenue, what church is this?
The one right across from Mr. Burgess, Peter Burgess.
Oh, yeah, right on the crest of the hill,
Yeah.
okay.
I did I put that in? Okay. So I did. For some reason, that church has been on the town books as town-owned. As long as I've been here before. And as you can see in the paperwork that I supplied you, the attorney's office, found the lease agreement that said that, the church organization that used to oversee it and run it and all that, once they were dormant and did not use the building for 5 years, it was automatically reverted back to the previous owners, which subsequently now is Joe Landers. The reason they're doing this is he is selling his property.
Okay.
And he thought it was already done, thought it was already included, because he was aware of that agreement.
Does he own the abutting land?
He does. He does. So, I just wanted you to make you aware that it's gonna be a correction in the, it's not gonna be town owned anymore, because they did present the lease, so Jackie's gonna fix the records.
Okay.
And I believe she's going to supplement taxes 3 years back,
Okay.
so.
Okay, that's fine with me. He's gonna include it in his property and then sell his property.
Yep. So,
Okay. Katie R. Foster. It's all grown up. Used to be at my house. Okay, so old business, the forest.
those two, I don't have anything. He didn't
Okay.
get a hold of me with a plan yet,
Okay,
and, Scott
He's
was
under-
able to come to
sure,
me.
okay, so I'll just put table by those.
Oh, I gotta check to see if we got that one.
Is there anything else, Cindy, you wanna?
I don't believe so.
Okay, you guys, anything else you wanna discuss, or
I guess the only thing
revisit?
I'd say is, if we're gonna get together on the budget, maybe sooner rather than later, would be
Yes.
best for us in case we get into something and
Okay.
our back is against the wall, closing in on the meeting.
I don't have any problem with doing one meeting just for budget, or a workshop just for budget, or whatever we can do. And then a meeting later on, a quick road meeting. I mean, that's, a road meeting is an hour
So
to
you
an
wanna
hour and
start
a
the
half
budget meeting
discussion.
now?
Yeah, let's do that. You all set with that, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. You pick the date, Brian.
Well, I don't care, what do you want to do morning or?
Do you wanna do morning or evening? Does it matter to you if we meet for the budget, morning or evening?
You,
Doesn't matter?
guess not, I can probably get Joan
Okay.
and be an hour late just for me. I'm pretty special, you know.
You are special, I've heard that. I have heard that.
25th would work best for me.
25th,
Yeah.
okay. Next Wednesday? Is that okay with you, Cindy?
What time?
You guys call it. My coffee clock goes off at 4:45.
The
I'm
only
up.
thing is we open at 8 o'clock, and if we do it on a Wednesday, is that a Wednesday?
Yeah,
She'll be right there, because Cindy's in on Wednesdays.
okay, well, why don't we do it then? You've got coverage on
Yeah.
Wednesdays, in other words.
Yeah.
8 AM on Wednesday, okay with
Or
you?
7:30 if you like before, or,
Okay.
I don't care, whatever works for you guys.
She does, oh yeah, 7:30.
I'm here,
Yeah.
yeah.
You do it at
7:30 would be okay with you?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do 7:30 AM on Wednesday, the 25th then.
That's a week from tomorrow. So I'll post it tomorrow.
We just recess this one, couldn't we?
And, it's up to you.
Yes, Cindy?
Just on the Vino farm, Might wanna contact Maine Farmland Trust, Main Street in Belfast. They match people that want to farm with farms that are available, and they find funding for them, and there's trust set up for things like that. They're very active.
I think that would be a good resource for Bob to contact them. That's great. So selectmen's meeting, 7:30.
I had the 24th as emergency preparedness, and I don't remember that at all. Did I put
Neither
it in
do
wrong?
I don't have anything on the
Yeah.
24th.
I must have put it in wrong. We don't have one, right?
I don't believe so.
You know,
Do you?
you
Okay.
had one back a while, you were gonna go do that.
Right. Okay, I don't have it now either.
So can we just recess this
You
meeting?
can?
And then we could just continue
Yeah.
next week? So, I'm just gonna, are you guys all set?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll make a motion that we recess this meeting and reopen it Wednesday morning, April 25th at 7:30 a.m.
What
Second.
time are you recessing?
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Don't
Se-
clock.
No, don't. Recess this meeting, I'll start over. I make a motion that at 7:26 p.m. we recess this meeting and reopen it Wednesday, April 25th at 7:30 a.m. Okay. No,
Oh, second.
all in favor? Okay, there we go, all approved. Thank you very much.